Hey everybody, this is the Jack Chappell Show, and we're going to be talking about motivation. As always, send in your Twitter question or your questions on Twitter at Jack Chappell SCI on Twitter, and follow me on Facebook, Chappell REI, and yeah, that's it. Chappell REI / Chappell REI, or you can just type in Jack Chappell; it'll show up in there. Anyways, we're going to talk about motivation and the 4 M's of motivation. I forget where I heard this from. It's probably like Ty Lopez or Grant Cardone or something like that. But anyways. Yeah, what is your motivation for working or wanting success? Something like, why do you get up in the morning? There's 4 M's that kind of cover this all. So one of which is called mastery. And you know, while I'm going through this, kind of think in your head, like what's most important to you? There's going to be 4 of these, and just, yeah, what is most important to you? I know what mine is. It's not mastery. So we have mastery as number 1. So what is mastery? Well, it's being the best at what you do. So you want to be the very best. Like Pokemon. You want to catch them all, so you want to be the very best at what you do. So a good example of this is not Ash Ketchum, because he didn't catch all the Pokemon, because he's a terrible Pokemon trainer. A good example of this is Michael Jordan. Yeah, Michael Jordan. So he wanted to just be the best basketball player ever. That was his main goal. Actually, I kind of have a funny stat on this. So I should just mention, I guess, that if your main goal is mastery, odds are you want to practice a lot and train a lot. And there's the thing where it's 10,000 hours to become an expert at something. And I'm going to give you a stat from Michael Jordan here. So in NBA games, in the regular season, he took 40,000 shots, okay? That's a lot of shots. So in games, that's how many shots he took, okay? Now, how many do you think he took in practice and in college and in high school and when he was a kid? So on average, he said that he took about 250 shots a day. Took 250 a day. You know how many shots that is in your lifetime? He took 1.4 million shots. He took 1.4 million shots for 40,000 in games that counted. So he took 1.36 million shots that didn't matter on the scoreboard, but he just wanted to be the very best. Isn't that amazing? I just thought that stat was amazing. So if you want to be the best, that's the work ethic it requires. Let's just see, doing the math right there, that's 4% of the shots he took in games were actually shots that, what is that, 4%, 5%, 3%, I don't know. 3% of the shots that he took in games were the total shots he's ever taken in his life. 3%. So anyways, what does it take to be good at mastery? Well, obsession, you got to be obsessed. One thing, and you kind of have to be a genius, but you obsessed or a genius or whatever. Generally speaking, the best people at what they do are obsessed with what they do. Actually, that's a line from Grant Cardone, but Michael Jordan, he had an obsessive personality. A lot of people don't realize that. So yes, he was obsessed with taking 1.4 million shots, but he was also obsessed with gambling. He was also obsessed with, you hear story from his teammates all the time that every single thing that he did with his teammates, he would try and make a bet or see like, oh, I bet I'm better than you at this. Like playing pool, hey, let's put $100 on it. I bet I can beat you. Hey, how many, potatoes are in that jar or in the bag? I bet I can count them better than you. Hey, I bet I can race you to the gym faster. I bet I can beat you to the gym. But I can bench more than you. Like everything was a competition for him. He was obsessed with winning and being the best at everything. So that's kind of mastery, right? That's being the best at what you do. Michael Jordan's the best example for that, but he was very obsessed with everything. Actually, I was watching the show. It was Penn and Teller. It was the Penn and Teller show on Netflix, and it's a magic show. So this girl went up there doing a magic trick, and it wasn't magic. It was it was a trick that it didn't require sleight of hand. It didn't require any sort of trickery or illusions or anything like that. It was up here. It was a trick that required her to practice for 10,000 times. She had to keep practicing it over and over and over again because it was a mental trick. It was a card trick where she had to remember where all the cards were at all times and what they added up to and all that stuff. So that's just a cool example of that. Like, she practiced and practiced and practiced for this really, really cool trick. And she was like a genius at the one trick. So that's mastery. For me, I would probably rank that as, I don't know where we're going to rank that. But that's the first M of motivation, is mastery. Number 2 here, this is kind of a weird one because, I don't know, it's hard to explain. Oh, this marker's dying here. Is momentum. So we got momentum. What does momentum mean? Being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. So it's kind of freedom. Do you value freedom? For me, this is ranked very, very, very high. Being able to do what you want, when you want, how you want. So for people that want a 9-to-5, it's not for you. If you want to be an employee, generally momentum's not your main thing. Maybe unless you're an employee that makes a lot of money and has freedom to do stuff at home and all that, but generally speaking, if you're an employee, momentum's not your number one target here. So it's freedom. I want to be able to. Actually, I'm going to tell you the story here. I've told this before. Kevin O'Leary did an interview, and I will always remember this. It kind of changed my life. It was just a simple 2-minute thing. And he was on the show, he's on the show Shark Tank, but there was a Canadian version years before that called Dragon's Den, and it's still on TV. It's in season like 15 or 10 or something. But Kevin O'Leary, he was doing a behind-the-scenes interview in that, and he values momentum more than anything. So they asked him, hey, why do you want to make money? Why do you want to be so successful? And he gave this answer. It was, well, money is freedom. It's the ability, like he said this, I can walk out of this interview right now and there's no one or nothing that anyone can do to stop me. None of you can stop me. That's what he valued in life. That's what he likes. He likes freedom. So, and it was just so cool because he said that to the interviewer's face, like, I can walk out of here and there's nothing you can do about it. I don't need to be here. I don't know. It's just, you can look it up on YouTube, but it was very inspiring for me. So momentum, it's Kevin O'Leary. We're going to move on because that's kind of a short one, freedom. But I value freedom. Like momentum also is kind of like, debt is the opposite of freedom. Like owing someone something, that's taking away your freedom. So like student loans and stuff and credit cards and all that stuff, I hate all that. I mean, you have to have credit cards to get a credit score to get a loan, so that's why I use them sometimes, but that's about it. I mean, I value freedom so much. Like I'm not an employee of anyone. I mean, I don't get a T4, I don't have a tax payment. I'm an independent contractor. I do consulting, I do YouTube, I do products, I do marketing, I do, what's my other stream of income? Stocks. Well, shoot, I'm missing one of my streams of income. I'm going to have a talk about that. Streams of income, by the way, that's going to be one of my future videos. So we're going to have number 3 here. What's the number 3 for motivation is money, material. Now, I've admitted in my other videos and podcasts, by the way, you can listen to this in podcast form, link in the description below, that money right now is probably my main motivation. I mean, it makes me happy. Money makes me happy. So it's a desire to be wealthy. Desire for wealth. That's what it is. You want to be wealthy. You physically like money. It makes you happy. You like stuff. Stuff makes you happy, and that's okay. I mean, I know that your parents told you that money doesn't buy happiness, but it does. It does. It makes people happy, makes people comfortable, makes people laid back, it just makes things better if you have a lot of money. So, what do I have here? Oh, that's right. most so most people, for most people, they say that $1 million will make them happy. If they had $1 million in wealth, that'll make them happy. That's not true. The number is much higher than that. Every single person in the community I live in has $1 million house. The average home price in my community there's probably 10,000 homes here. It's $1.2 million, I believe. Something around there, 1.1 million. I live in one of the richest areas in the world, not just Canada, not just Ontario. It's one of the richest suburbs, I should say, because I know that there's spurts here in downtown, New York and LA and Toronto, and I'm sure that there's a bunch of like London. But in terms of a giant town, city, community with 100,000 people, this is one of the richest areas in the world, with one of the highest qualities of living too. So, for most people, $1 million, say that it'll make them happy, but that's not true. It's usually about $10 million. So one kind of funny thing is that a human life, when a baby is born, the government values that life at $7 million. Isn't that weird? The government has a number. You can look it up too. It changes by country, but it's about $7 million. Now, it degrades with age. So right now, like the average 20-year-old is 4 million or something like that. But yeah, when I think about number 3, money and material, what's the amount of money or wealth that it would take for you to be happy? Do you have a number in your head? For me, I think I kind of mentioned, I think mine's $10 million in wealth or money and assets and everything. A lot of people think it's $1 million, but I think it's false. What's your number? Is it 5 million, 2 million, 100,000, 10,000, 1,000? Some people just want to be out of debt. Like, man. Anyways, that's the money, material money. I think that's number 1 for me. But I'm going to get to number 4, which is the reason people don't know this. This is probably the reason why I'm in business right now, the 4th one. And it's not for the reason you think. I'm going to say what it is, and then you're going to be like, oh, Jack's messed up. But no, I'm going to give you kind of a heartfelt story here. So number 4, and this is for guys a lot, is mating. Mating is a big one. I mean, like, people want to be attractive to the opposite sex. Whether you're a female, you want to get a good-looking guy, a rich guy, whatever. It's if you have more resources, it's easier to get those kind of people in your life. It just is. People are attracted to resources. That's just the way it is. It's a psychological, biological thing. It's kind of built into everyone. So you want to find like a wife or husband, or you want to be like Dan Bilzerian. And just hook up with people 24/7. So you want to do that, or you just want to hook up, right? Hook up 24/7. So you want to find a wife or husband. Oh, that's a bad wife writing there. My voice is dying again. So my motivation, I'm going to give you a little bit of a background on why I started all these businesses and stuff. So I did start, it's true, I started some of my minor stuff, like my YouTube and stuff, which it's not, YouTube's kind of a business, like it's a nice income, extra income, but it shouldn't be your main income. It's not my main income yet. It might be in the future, but, so I was making YouTube videos, and around third year university, I started getting really sick, really, really sick. And first thing was actually, see these eyes? We actually figured out what this is. See how my eyes are dark and red all the time? That's actually from it's from a separate disease, but that one's called vasomotor rhinitis, and it's just your nerves in your brain just cause your blood vessels in your eyes and your nose to swell up. It's happens to, like, I don't know, 5% of the population or 1%, but mine's pretty severe because it's just 24/7. My eyes are red and black, which kind of sucks because a few years ago I was I had a 6-pack and I was all pretty and all that stuff. But So I was dating someone for 3.5 years, and I was getting sick, and I got more sick, and I was hospitalized, and yeah, I was hospitalized, and they found out I was going through organ failure. Both my kidneys were failing, not just one, both, and we couldn't figure out why. And I was starting to lose control of my nervous system, and we didn't really know why, but we ended up figuring it out just a little while ago that it was a separate issue with my brain, with my nerves, I should say, not my brain. But I was having trouble walking and moving. I was having pain every single day and organ failure, and I was in hospital 30 out of like 60 days for a stretch. And there's one night right before I got out, I was going through hypothermia, and they were trying to take blood from me, and they kept like poking around, but my blood vessels kept popping. All my main veins here were popping. They were getting nervous here because they were out of veins. They were on the last one that they could do, or else they couldn't take blood from me, and then they couldn't analyze if I was getting better or worse. Or I had to stay for a week or whatever. So, but luckily, yeah, I had 8 blown up blood vessels that were all bleeding at the same time from my arms. Eventually, I went home. I think it was a day or two later, and everything was clear, and I was good. My kidneys were okay. They were not great, but they were okay. I was still having trouble walking, and I was dizzy all the time, and I still couldn't move my limbs fully yet. I was still in pain and all that stuff. And yeah, so I get a call saying, "Hey, we need to talk," from my girlfriend who was supposed to be in school. And a few hours later, I got dumped. I got dumped while going through the worst medical thing like someone can go through. One of the worst things. I mean, like, I went through organ failure, people have cancer and all that stuff, much, much worse. But like, I was already at the lowest point in my life, and then this person left me. And I thought in my head, I remember this. This was actually really, really funny. It happened not too far from here. I got the call, actually. It was like 10 feet away from here. I remember that. And so I'm not going to go through the breakup talk and all that stuff, but I got dumped. She came to my door, and I was in all this pain, and not emotional pain, actually, which is kind of funny. I mean, I was for like, I remember this. I had my best friend here. It was just a coincidence he was here, which is good, so I got to talk to him. I was sad for 6 hours. And then that is when the entrepreneur in me, I was like, okay, that's the last fucking straw. That this person is willing to leave me when I'm at my lowest of the lowest of the lowest. And so how can I make sure that I never get someone like that again? I was like, okay, well, you can just be healthy. You have to recover. So I spent the next year recovering, 1.5 years or so. And then I was like, okay, I got that covered. I'm healthy now. I've been eating well. And okay, so that's all good. I've been a nice person. I haven't been controlling. I haven't been, any of that stuff. And I was like, okay, what do people also like? People like motivated and wealthy people. And I know I don't want to end up with a gold digger. Hopefully my girlfriend right now isn't one. She isn't one. Hopefully not. But that last straw for me to become an entrepreneur was me getting dumped. Seriously, within 6 hours, I was like, okay, how do I start improving my life now? I was so quick over that. I was crushed for 6 hours. Like, I was really crushed. And then I started, trying to walk again. I remember actually what was kind of funny was that because I got dumped, I had all the adrenaline glowing, and I was like, my nervous system was like up again because the adrenaline was just getting to me, which is kind of, I don't know, it's kind of an interesting thing. Like, the adrenaline caused me to get better temporarily. And I was able to go for a jog. Now, saying that, it wasn't for very long. My chest was on fire because I was pretty much laying down for the past 2 months. And, but I remember like that, yeah, that's what motivated me. And then after that, I was like, okay, how do I start learning more about business? How do I start getting more money? How do I make sure that I don't find a terrible person again? Right now, it's just, there's a bunch of things, but the mating one for me was why I started getting into business. It was like, how can I make sure I don't have to go through this again? And I think I found a good person. So that's going to kind of wrap it up, right? I don't know. What's your main motivation? Is there one of these that got you into business and then it changed, like me? Like mine was originally mating and then it turned into money. Was there one for you? Maybe you wanted to be a master at something and then you mastered it and then now you want money, right? Or now you want a girl or a guy. I know the most of you watch, actually surprisingly, I thought that the majority of my viewers are male, but like there's a decent percentage that are female, which is it's kind of cool. I like it. So anyways, wow, I shared that personal story and it's gonna be on YouTube. Anyways, I hope that you like this video and hope that you learned a little bit and hope that you kind of search into yourself, what's your main motivation? So I'd like to thank you very much for watching. You are all very beautiful people. I'll see you guys next time.